$2 billion. That's the haul from a single year of digital heists, more than the GDP of some small nations. Stolen not by armies or spies, but by keyboard-wielding hackers operating from a country that's supposed to be cut off from the global financial system. North Korea. For decades, the regime survived on counterfeiting, drug trafficking, and weapons sales. But those channels dried up under crushing sanctions. So they pivoted into the one market where borders don't matter and oversight is still catching up: cryptocurrency. And they didn't just dabble. By 2026, North Korean hackers were responsible for 76% of all crypto hack losses worldwide, over 3/4 of global theft. A tiny team with a massive impact. The result? $2 billion in cyberattacks funding weapons programs, enough to buy multiple nuclear warheads. The very thing sanctions were designed to stop. So how does a sanctioned, isolated regime pull off the biggest heists in history? The answer isn't brute force. It's a network of elite hackers, state-backed infrastructure, and a financial system that's still learning how to spot the con. From the heists to the laundering to the nuclear payoff, this is how North Korea turned crypto into its most powerful weapon. Sanctions have strangled North Korea's economy. Coal exports, seafood, textiles, gone. The regime's traditional cash flow dried up. But a nuclear program doesn't run on goodwill. It needs foreign currency, hard currency. And the world had locked every door. So Pyongyang found a window. The digital underworld, a place where borders don't exist, where a single keystroke can move millions. North Korea's cyber activities now account for about half of its foreign currency earnings. Half. That's not a side hustle, that's a lifeline. These attacks have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars. But the scale is staggering. $2 billion, enough to buy multiple nuclear warheads. The regime isn't just surviving, it's arming itself one hack at a time. Yet here's the twist. North Korea has almost no public internet. Its citizens can't even browse the web. So how does a country with no internet access pull off billion-dollar heists? You've heard the numbers, but who is actually behind the keyboard? Two distinct hacking groups. They operate from Pyongyang, inside the Reconnaissance General Bureau, North Korea's military intelligence arm. Their targets: cryptocurrency exchanges, DeFi protocols, individual developers. They don't use brute force, they use patience. They pose as recruiters on LinkedIn, send fake job offers, infect a developer's machine with a single click. Once inside, they drain wallets. The stolen crypto, hundreds of millions of dollars, flows through a web of mixers, peer-to-peer exchanges, and sanctioned platforms. The US Treasury has already blacklisted one exchange for laundering these funds, but the money keeps moving. Therefore, it reaches missile factories and uranium enrichment sites. North Korea's cyber activities now account for about half of its foreign currency earnings. Yet the scale is staggering. In 2026, just 2 attacks, 2 stole over 3/4 of all crypto hack value globally, a tiny team with a massive impact. So who are they really? And why are just 2 teams responsible for over 3/4 of global crypto theft? Subscribe to uncover how money funds the world's darkest regimes. A developer in California opens a LinkedIn message. A recruiter offers a dream job at a crypto startup. The link looks legitimate. It isn't. One click, and the wallet drains. That's the entry point. But the real operation runs deeper. North Korea's hackers don't just phish. They infiltrate supply chains. They compromise open-source code libraries that thousands of projects rely on. They plant backdoors in software updates. When a DeFi protocol installs the update, the hackers slip in. Funds vanish before anyone notices. The scale is staggering. Just 2 hacking groups are responsible for 76% of all crypto hack losses in 2026. A tiny team with a massive impact. They move fast, laundering through mixers, bridges, and unregulated exchanges. The money flows from a laptop in Pyongyang to a nuclear warhead in a silo. Therefore, the tactics evolve. They target employees, not just code. They study victims for weeks, learning habits, building trust. They send fake tax documents, fake conference invitations, fake job offers. Each click is a breach. But the real shock? The US. Treasury just sanctioned an exchange for helping them. Every stolen dollar isn't just code, it's fuel. A single heist can buy a missile test, but the real cost isn't measured in crypto, it's measured in warheads. North Korea's cyberattacks have funneled an estimated $2 billion into weapons programs. That's enough to buy multiple nuclear warheads, and the operation is terrifyingly efficient. Just 2 hacking groups are responsible for 76% of all crypto theft in 2026. A tiny team with a massive impact. They don't need armies, they need laptops. Therefore, every time a bridge is exploited, every time a DeFi protocol drains, the money doesn't vanish into a black hole. It lands in Pyongyang, it buys enriched uranium, it funds the next ICBM test. The human cost. It's the families in Seoul living under the threat of a strike. It's the global sanctions regime that keeps failing. It's the developers whose stolen code becomes a weapon. You see the numbers, but the consequence is invisible until a missile lands. And the numbers are staggering. Billions funneled straight into weapons programs. So the world fights back. Blockchain forensics firms now trace every stolen coin, flagging wallets linked to Pyongyang. Sanctions hit the exchanges that launder the funds, the US. Treasury blacklisted one in 2022 for processing millions from a North Korean heist. But the hackers adapt. They switch chains, use mixers, cash out through peer-to-peer platforms. The cat-and-mouse game accelerates. Yet the scale is staggering. In 2025, North Korea stole over $2 billion in crypto, more than the GDP of some small nations. 2 hacking groups alone accounted for 76% of all global crypto theft in 2026, a tiny team with a massive impact. Democratic lawmakers now warn that these digital heists directly fund nuclear warheads. The UN report from February 2022 already confirmed it. Stolen crypto dollars fuel missile programs. So the counterattacks escalate. International task forces freeze assets, exchanges tighten KYC. But every new firewall meets a new exploit. The hackers are state-backed, patient, and relentless. They don't need to win every time, just once. But with hacking profits surging 51% in a year, is it already too late? The regime's survival and global security hangs on the answer. Picture a single server room in Pyongyang. 2 hacking groups, just 2, siphoned 76% of all crypto stolen worldwide in 2026. That's over 3/4 of global theft from a handful of keyboards. The money doesn't buy yachts, it buys centrifuges, missile fuel, warheads. But here's the loop that keeps spinning. Every heist funds the next generation of weapons. Every weapon forces tighter sanctions. Every sanction makes crypto heists more essential. The system feeds itself. North Korea's cyber operations now generate roughly half its foreign currency. That's not a side hustle, that's the engine. Therefore, the real question isn't how they hack, it's what happens when they win. If the stolen billions keep flowing, $2.02 billion in 2025 alone, more than the GDP of some small nations, the regime buys time. Time to perfect delivery systems, time to miniaturize warheads, time to normalize the unthinkable. The world fights back with sanctions, arrests, exchange blacklists, but the hackers adapt faster than the regulators. They're not chasing quick cash, they're building a nuclear insurance policy. One thing's clear, this isn't just a hacking story, it's a nuclear one. So how does North Korea keep its regime afloat and its nuclear program running, despite crippling global sanctions? The answer is not a secret vault, it's a server room. 2 hacking groups, that's it. 2 teams, operating from inside one of the most isolated countries on Earth, stole 76% of all crypto hack value in 2026, over 3/4 of global theft, pulled off by a tiny crew with a massive impact. They didn't need a navy, they needed a laptop. And the money, $2.02 billion in 2025 alone. More than the GDP of some small nations, hacking profits surging 51% year over year. Enough to buy multiple nuclear warheads, the UN reported it. The Treasury sanctioned an exchange for laundering the funds. Democratic lawmakers raised alarms. But the heists kept coming. Here's the lesson. Sanctions create a vacuum. North Korea couldn't trade, couldn't borrow, couldn't sell oil. So it found the one market that doesn't ask for ID crypto. The very system designed to bypass banks became the regime's lifeline. The more the world tightened the noose, the more the hackers profited. Irony? No. Strategy. The next hidden monopoly isn't a country, it's a code. Stay curious, stay critical,